I saw your site. You've talked to everybody. I thought I was going to get a record contract.
Okay.
Beyond that, I don't know, but I was pretty sure of that. And that's why I went to Greenwich Village to see, since I was no longer in a rock and roll band, because I wanted to do that and go to New York City. Weren't a lot of bandmates ready to do that. And I was writing the songs and I was singing and I wanted to go. So that seemed like a good thing to do, is to see what was left of that folky scene, since I appeared to be a folky. I looked like a folky when I went to the Village because I had a Martin guitar and the harmonica rack, and there you go. But I wasn't coming from all studying old-timey music and saturated in that kind of thing. What I mainly liked was rock and roll, and I liked, as I think about it, really, primarily English rock and roll. I liked Woody Guthrie, of course, and I studied him, and listened to Library of Congress records and all to see what all the commotion was about, and I read his writings, his books. Jimmy Rogers was a genius. He compiled all of these elements, and they call him the father of country music, but there's a certain real elemental truth to Jimmy Rogers as a recording artist. You can learn a lot about the way life really is listening to him. He didn't sugarcoat things. He put a lot of things out there that were the way they really were, and he knew a lot. So that's what I like about him. He's if you really want to get serious about it, you can even go as far as whipping that old TB, a song he wrote. It's almost at times dark humor about the fact that he was dying of tuberculosis. He's a fascinating recording artist, although he barely made the cut. I mean, he's one of the first, so he could, if he'd been born 15 years earlier, he might not have been a recording artist. Well, there's definitely songs I wrote then that I couldn't write now. Lately, if you listen to the new record, which is called Moving Through America, folks.
Right, I'm going to get to that.
Okay, sure. You see a lot of character portraits on there that are other than myself, not as many personal experiences and as those earlier records. Because as you get older, I'll try to be brief, but you're not out on the scene scuffling or making it, getting thrown out of bars or what have you, and a lot of what was once new and exciting, you've been through it about 5 times. And then as you get older, you hopefully are playing it a little safer, Jeff, and not glad to be so crazy in my day. And you might want to express things through things you see around you, since you're not out raising as much hell as you used to 50, 40 years ago. Everything in there is an account of a trip back home to Meridian between January 23 through 30, 78. I just felt like I had to put out a record every year. That was sort of the norm back then. And I was writing all the material, and I think that's what I was expecting to do. I would like to have taken a little more time to look at the situation and say, for example, you've got the several outtakes from Alive on Arrival and several outtakes from Jackrabbit that you're happy with. Why not put out a record now, say after Jackrabbit, with those and let people hear those songs while there's a lot of interest? Um, those sort of thoughts, just in too big a hurry maybe to think things like that, or to listen to the record for quite a while and say, if you put this much material on vinyl, what they say is true. The record's not as loud. And is that what you want? You're going to need more volume out of this piece of vinyl. So things like that. I don't think I got completely on Mars, I wasn't drinking so much I lost all my teeth, like maybe some, well-known guitarist you might have heard of or something. But I was a little bit in a whirlwind from it all. Well, it's certainly personable stuff. It's not particularly presented to be loud music. I listened to Highway Star carefully the other day by Deep Purple, and that's a tour de force of a sonic experience. I'm coming from telling stories quite often, and it's folk rock is there you go. It's called Americana now, but that's okay with me. When I started, that term wasn't around. Well, you just save these things that appeal to you. It may be years before they develop some sort of context to be presented in. Sometimes they just become part of a litany of things. For example, on the new record, It's Too Bad You Super Freak.
Right.
I'm standing outside of the hospital stomping out a cigarette. There's irony in that to me. And I had jotted that down and it stayed with me for a while. And then I just, I wouldn't say created a character. That sounds a bit grandiose, but I just wrote a song from someone's, might be their experiences that would be that guy, And so you make use of these phrases that you think are worth singing to people.
Okay.
Sometimes they come to you on the spot and it's real time and you write it down, and sometimes you save them for a while. This thing now wouldn't interest me much, really. Everything's been done, and there's still probably a few really good songs out there to be written, but there's so many songs now that people have access to home studios and posting things and Facebook pages and Instagram and all that. There's just so many songs. They're not even a dime a dozen now. I think they're 20 for a dime, maybe 30 for a dime. There's a lot of opportunity to just get involved in this self-promotion sort of thing. And I don't think there's as much accent as there should be on living the songs and writing songs that hopefully will stand on their own beyond your recording of it. Yeah. Anybody can write a song pretty much, and anybody can now record that song. So, I mean, that doesn't prove a lot. I made the cover record with Steve Greenwell. He had mixed a previous record called Compromised, and I liked his sonic skills. I liked working with him. So I got ready to do this cover record in 2019 or so, and we were able to work on that together, finish it here in Asbury Park. And then I just kept going. This freaking virus thing hit, but we were able to keep recording. We didn't have a orchestra or have to worry about. So that's what moving through America is that we use the same players and just kept going from the cover record into the new one with these original songs. I had tried that song back then, and I just thought the studio recording was way too bombastic. The only way it really appealed to me was just take it all off and just present it as a vocal guitar thing. Mm-hmm. But as these couple of years went by, these few years, I kept performing the song live, and I wanted to hear it with the whole,
I see,
combo production, if you will. Well, I could be that guy. I'm not the guy who's got a gambling problem and heading back to Atlantic City, fortunately, as like the guy in It's Too Bad You Super Freak. And I'm not the guy who's out of jail, out on the street, living the dream in that song, Living the Dream. But yeah, uh, uh, fried oysters is the closest to reality. I would say to begin with, as anyone would say, there's certainly an element of luck in it.
Yeah.
And after that, I would say that you look at the ones that are the best known, and by and large, they're pretty freaking smart. I mean, it's amazing how smart Beatle Paul has turned out to be. It's amazing how smart Paul Simon is. I mean, he could have done anything.
Yeah.
So that's a factor in it. And at some point in your career, or all of it, you've got to have a really good manager that can communicate with you, and you've got to have the sensibility to want to be whatever you're saying is the opposite of obscure. Okay, to be super famous or a household name. You've got to really want that. If that's your top priority, you'll probably achieve it. But maybe some of the people you mentioned didn't really want that. They didn't really want to get out of a limousine and be bombarded with people, accosting them while they tried to get into the, shall we say, the Four Seasons Hotel or whatever.
I'm guessing that wasn't your top priority.
I don't give a flip about that stuff. It's annoying. Yeah.